Hello friends, family and other creatures of the sea, and welcome back to a high-level game between here in the top right, spawning as our red Zerg player playing for the Shopify Rebellion. It is Scarlett. And in the bottom left as our blue Terran player playing for no team right now, but still with the Storm Gaming banner. It is indeed Gumiho. Barracks down on the high ground here, as we don't have a scout quite yet. Scarlett opening up with a hatch first, the standard opener for Zerg players on this map and on most maps. Actually, on every single map, what am I saying? I don't think there's ever been a time that I can recall in which hatch first was not the standard in Zerg versus Terran. I can't quite recall ZVT in Wings of Liberty very much though. I do believe that hatchery first was the golden standard already back then. I know that in Zerg versus Protoss for a long while, it was pool first. That was the golden standard in the Stefano era as well. Because with hatch first, it was pretty difficult to stop certain cannon rushes. And don't forget, in Wings of Liberty, Protoss always opened up with a forge. The forge first expand was the standard for TOS. It wasn't very good, but it is what we played. So, something to keep in mind. Ooh. This Overlord potentially in a little bit of trouble. Marine is microing very hard. Second Marine coming out as well here. Not so sure if this Overlord is going to make it back home. It's going to be darn close. I actually don't think it's going to make it there. That means that Scarlett's going to get supply blocked. We'll need to start a new Overlord. That's of course a fairly frustrating start. Follow-up will be a reactor. And a couple of Hellions most likely popping out there. I do believe it's going to be a switch up. Yep, there we go. Starport will go down too. Nice start here for Gumiho for sure. He's going to be very happy with that. Extremely quick Hellions here, by the way. I just have to say it. Oh, Marines are under siege here, but will stay alive. The first two cars are on their way out, and this is giving me Hellbat all-in vibes. We have continued Marine production, and with continued Marine production, often it is the case that it is going to be a Hellbat all-in, because there really is no other purpose to having more Marines in the early game as a Terran player. It delays your third command center a considerable amount. So why are you getting it, might be the question. And I don't know why anyone would be getting it. There, however, isn't just that much gas at the moment. Medevac has already started, and second gas is now on the way, but there's not enough gas here for an armory. So perhaps I was wrong. Perhaps I was wrong after all. Barracks is going to make its way over to this general area. We have a tech lab coming out on this starport. Hellion production will continue on. Roach Warren on the way. I'm not sure if that's defensively or if Scarlett has some aggressive plans here. Sometimes hard to see. Oh, this is different. It's not going to be a Hellbat on. This is basically a Viking. Now this sounds stupid, but this functions the same way that a Viking would. Saying, hey, if I get 5 Marines in a medevac, I can clear Overlord. And on top of that, I scare my opponent into believing that it is a Hellbat all-in. So there really is a lot going on here. Coming out of Gumiho, Scarlett is not necessarily overreacting. She's on 6 queens. We have more drones coming out as well. So a fairly reasonable response. Here comes a... Well, this is almost a straight up attack as well, honestly. A couple of drones will fall. We now have this drop heading on towards the high ground. Look at this elevator move up here. Gumiho is kind of struggling though with all of this. He's not doing the greatest job when it comes to controlling these two armies. Hellions are taking some big hits here. Lynx need to move in position right now. We'll get the surround on the Marines, and these Hellions by themselves are just not going to be good enough. Medevac's taking a lot of damage as one Hellion will go down. The other one is practically dead as well. And double spores now coming up here. Banshees are being built behind this, but no cloak. It's just regular Banshees. We are going to be seeing a meching Gumiho over here as the spore does not quite burrow in time. And that means that the Medevac gets to drop everything, kill 7 drones, and I think Gumiho gets out of this game in a position where he's fairly far ahead. Up, well, not anymore, but he was up a couple of workers. Wait, what? Oh wait, he's playing bio? Wow. Huh. So he played double gas, double eBay, before any extra barracks. That means that his follow-up push is going to be insanely late. Insanely late. He's going to have 16 Marines at the 7:30 mark, while usually it's going to be at like 6:30. Something along those lines. Of course, he did deal a lot of damage in the early game. He still has the double Banshees. Do note, without Cloak. And he's rushing out these upgrades now at a high pace. Feels like this build was fairly... how should we call it? Inefficient in a certain way. Banshees are going to come in here, but there's double spores in the main already. Scarlett is completely ready for this garbage. We'll lose 3 workers anyway. Banshees, of course, very strong against drones. Oop, one Banshee in a little bit of trouble. It's not going to get taken out, though, by the Queens. As the Hellions continue harassing here. Roaches are on the way. What are we seeing? Okay, that's going to be a reactor here on this factory. And that's not brilliant, because Gumiho is going to need some tanks against the composition he's fighting against. If he doesn't have any tanks and Scarlett does opt for a 1-1 roach push, I think Gumiho is going to be in a world of trouble. It is 79 workers to 57. So despite the nice damage Gumiho dealt in the early game, it felt like his follow-up was so bad and everything is so late that he can't really keep up the pressure. And as a result, Scarlett now spreading a lot of creep. Look how beautiful that looks. Lots of creep tumors on the map. Good eco as well, going up to 8 gas already. Infestation pit going down. Hydra then should be thrown down as well at some point in the near future. So these Hellions now moving in. Scarlett not completely ready for it. Does have 3 roaches there to deal with it. A little bit of a slow response. I mean, she had a lot of vision with these creep tumors. Just didn't respond adequately to that threat. 5th hatchery on the way here. Spores now start moving forward. Armory coming down for Gumiho. As Hive should be on the way here for our Rebellion Zerg player. Yep, there we go. No Hydra then, though. So perhaps Lurkers not in the immediate plans for the Canadian. Seems to be that Infestors are going to be the next step here. I'm surprised by that. Not surprised that Infestors are being built, but I'm surprised that the Lurker then is not being thrown down yet, or a Hydra then for that matter. Almost feels like a mistake. Vehicle weapons level 1 is about 10% done right now. And once those tanks get that extra damage, it's always nice. Where's the second factory? Okay, so we have 2 factories now with Tech Lab, so double tank production is going to be possible. It's also a necessity. There's only a single tank out right now. If Scarlett would have gone for the 1-1 roach attack, I think she would have straight up won the game. Combat shield is insanely late after all. And there were simply no tanks here to defend whatsoever. Big stim forward is going to help, of course. As 4 infestors are about to pop with the pathogen glance upgrade done as well. Ooh, this is a bad fight here for Scarlett, or at least it feels like a bad fight. Losing a lot of roaches. It's taking out a lot of Marines as well at the same time. And was a big bank available. I was going to say there is a big bank available, but that would simply be a lie, because there's not much of a bank available anymore. Double Banshees do come in and the Hellbats help out. 2-2 upgrades about to finish up as well here for Gumiho. Doesn't have a whole lot of medevacs, but still has a sizable army here. Hellbats will get taken out. Tank moving forward. More and more roaches coming in. We still have at least 2 fungals available. Scarlett practically maxed again, by the way. Could wait for these 10 new roaches to come out. Could also probably just straight up engage into this. This is not a whole lot of Marines. And it's only 2 tanks with that 1 Banshee. Here comes 1 fungal. Going to connect with 7, 8 Marines. Hits the medevac as well at the same time. And Scarlett is completely going to crush this battle, as both tanks will get taken out here. And this was a fight pre-2-2 on the side of both players. It feels like Gumiho perhaps hit his timing slightly too early. I think after the fight in the middle of the map here, he believed that he could do a bit more. And Scarlett kind of denied that, saying, no, you can't. This is it, buddy. this is as far as you're gonna get. 6 bases now up for Scarlett as well, who hasn't spread a lot of creep since that earlier stage, the early parts of the mid-game. Going into what? Ultra Cavern. Now this is a completely foreign approach to me. I've seen a lot of Roach Ravager games. And I've seen Ravager Ling Bane into Hive. But I've never seen Roach Ravager 2-2 upgrades into Infestors, into Hive, into Viper, into Ultra. There's so many roaches as well. Often if we see this transition into melee units, we see like an initial 12, 13, 14 roaches perhaps, and then a follow-up into pure Ling Bane, right? And you can morph these roaches into Ravagers, they can help out against tanks, they're great at clearing mines as well. But this is a large roach count that has also been rebuilt already because a bunch of roaches did go down. So this wasn't necessarily a unit, well actually it was a unit she did make for safety, but she seemed keen as well to get more roaches out, and that is odd. We have chitinous plating on the way, +3 carapace, double macro hatchers coming up in the main base. Wouldn't mind seeing a 7th over here, yep. Or maybe even a base here on the gold as well, of course. As long as you have map control, as long as you're winning those fights, I think getting extra bases is not necessarily a bad thing. As the drone count continues to rise here, and the Ravagers indeed are being added in. I'm not quite sure what that fungal was for, but it completely missed. This base is trying to be set up as Scarlett moves in. Going to try to go for a little bit of a deny here. We'll hit a couple of biles. That's a lot of Ravagers here. That's 11 Ravagers with a 12th on the way. This is going to be close. What's the tank count? We're at 9. That's significant. This base just can't land. It simply can't land, right? Can it? It seems so risky. So darn risky. I mean, you get 10, 9 of these biles on top of your face. This base is going to be in trouble. Only 1k health remaining anyway. This drop is now trying to, well, drop. This split off of the army is trying to take out a couple of creep tumors. No ghosts are out yet. No Ghost Academy has even... No, actually there is a Ghost Academy. It has been constructed. We just don't see any ghost production quite yet. There comes an attack from the top side. Not all tanks can participate in this party. As a parasitic bomb is going to connect with a bunch of these medevacs. One medevac most likely will go down. These tanks will get a couple of shots off while Scarlett is trying to retreat. And the follow-up here is indeed going to be just kind of pure Ling. We have the anabolic synthesis as well, so the movement speed for the Ultralisk. And 4 drones now on the way. Spore is going to get killed here. As the Lings move forward. Is there Adrenal? Yeah, we do have Adrenal. I was thinking, these Lings attack at a very high pace. Lots of Banelings being added in as well. +2 melee is on the way here. +3 range as well coming in. Scarlett trying to look for an engagement. Overall, resources lost fairly even. Usually a good sign for the Zerg player, if resources lost is even. Watched one hell of a game on this map the other day between Clem and Dark. Absolutely fantastic. If this game is going to be remotely similar, we're in for a freaking treat. That game started out with a very poor start for Dark. And Dark slowly but surely tried turning it around against Clem. Absolutely masterful ending of that game as well. Gold hatchery here is being taken on the left side. Scarlett occupying all the bases that she wants to occupy for a pure late game split map scenario. We often see Zerg players these days. Don't hold that thought. We have another big attack coming in. A couple of tanks will get taken out. There's still 14 remaining. Ling flank coming in from the left side. We see Scarlett actually making quite an impact here. Really diminishing that tank count. Taking out 5, 6, maybe even 7 tanks here. Of course, Liberators will remain alive for a little bit longer. Ghost trying to get the snipes in. This was a really nice fight for Scarlett. Resources lost doesn't look brilliant, but I do believe that this was worthwhile. Taking out 7 tanks there is definitely huge. Yeah, what I was going to say is that often we see Zerg players saturate these outside bases a bit quicker. So they'll be like, all right, this is a harder base to take later on. Why don't I send my drones from the natural and the drones from my 3rd and my 4th base to these outside bases? Kind of what she's doing over here. You know, this base is not mining any minerals and this base is. And I think something similar is going to end up happening here because this base and this base is going to be easier to mine from later on. So you want to mine the hardest to mine bases as quickly as possible. And it's the same if you're mining minerals from your opponent, right? That's always going to have priority over mining from bases that you can mine from later on with way more ease. Like Terran can only defend so many bases at the same time. So Terran needs to make a decision. Do I expand to the left side? Do I expand to the right side? Where am I going to be pushing? Terran is often in a very kind of defensive posture in these cases. And I'm not so sure. Ooh. if the Terran can actually stop, for example, a bottom right side base going down right now, or a top left side base going down, like this 9 o'clock. Looks like it might have some potential here for Scarlett. For now, just mining these gold minerals. Of course, could also build a hatchery back here, or along, you know, to kind of mine from the back in this area would be quite nice. Gumiho struggling, by the way, to get resources to even max out. He sends up a tank over here on the right side. So many tanks and liberators here. I don't think this is a very viable fight here. Ghosts are going to connect with that Ultra. A couple of SCVs will go down. Setup remains solid though. Greater Spire on the way. Do we have a second Spire as well for air upgrades? No, we don't. Scarlett continues mining from the gold here. And Gumiho, I mean, he's confidently on 5 bases right now. Main base is running out. Natural running out. Gas is actually also running out there. This base is getting closer to running out. Forward base has been muled severely as well. So I think at some point in the near future we'll see a steady drop in income here for Gumiho if he isn't careful. He's going to need to move to greener pastures. Scarlett setting up for a drop here, which is a rare thing to see. Are we going to actually see some Ultralisk drop harass? It is a possibility. Well, there's no Ultras available, so it's fairly unlikely. Perhaps no Ultralisk drop harass over here. As for Overlords with links are going to make their way in towards the main base. Are there any Hellions and Helbets available? Yes, there are. Vehicle weapons level 2 has finished up. Level 3 hasn't started yet. Uh-oh. Here we go. Ling, Bane, Hydra, Ravager moving forward right now. A lot of Ghosts in the back trying to snipe out these Overseers as a bunch of tanks do get killed. Almost like Scarlett wanted to take out this position while simultaneously dealing some damage in towards the opponent's main base. Level 3 melee weapons is about to finish up, and here comes the attack. How will Gumiho respond to this? Well, by sending back basically his entire army except for the Ghost. I think that is a fair response here. Ghost now moving forward, trying to deal some damage. And this CC is going to land as a 6th base. There we come. 1, 2, 3, 4. Boom, boom, boom. Snipe, snipe, snipe. Links have been taken out. Or at least have been burrowed. No, they have been taken out. No links are being burrowed here. It's a little bit disappointing. I do believe that burrow is already has already been researched. Yeah, there we go. Scarlett definitely could have done something with that. Now this 6th base is being mined from, or soon will be mined from. Scarlett not aware of it, as it's barely out of vision range. Does mean there might be another area to hit. Lots of Banelings moving forward, looking for connections with Ghost. But the Ghosts keep running away, not ready to start serious dating yet. They've been hurt before in those relationships, and they just don't want a short fling with a Baneling. I completely understand that. They run away, snipe from a distance. Tank count is at 7, which isn't super high, but the Baneling count is at 3, which is extremely low. 21 more are being added in. Ghost coming forward to snipe Overseers. This is not necessarily a great position to fight in here for Gumiho, and he's indeed going to get pushed back. Scarlett now has an opportunity to pounce on this right side base, and that's indeed what she will end up doing. This base is toast. Couple of nice biles here coming down. We'll take out 1 Liberator for free. Resources lost still relatively close. Gumiho, earlier when I mentioned it, was on 2400 minerals a minute, now on just a mere 17, 16, 1500 minerals a minute. He really is struggling getting the money in there. And yes, he still has some open patches that he can mine from, but those are quickly disappearing as well. So really needs to start working on setting up this base and then also defending that base. Just setting it up isn't enough. Here we go with the drones. They are being sent to the first of Gumiho's bases on the far left side. So Scarlett identifies that Gumiho is focusing on the right as we speak, and as a result moves towards the left with her own mining. Still has these drops that want to go in towards the main base. And going for a bit of a double attack here. Let's take a look at the first person for Scarlett. Setting up an engagement here. Wants to hit simultaneous as the drop in towards the main base so that Gumiho doesn't have time to respond to one of the two things. And here come the links. Lots of ghosts are being taken out. All Hellbats have died as well. Once again, Scarlett is going to break this position. in a pretty severe way. Lings in the main wells, in the main base simultaneously taking out a lot of the infrastructure as well, making it difficult to rebuild. Scarlett does need to be careful that there's enough larva available. There's still 7 here right now, so that should be fine. Don't want to die against some lame counterattack. Yeah, we do see the only +2 still. That is fairly bad, actually. The reason for that is the moment you get +3 and blue flame, Hellbats are actually capable of one-shotting Lings, which is a huge deal. A couple of Lings did get burrowed here this time around, which is nice. Will be a threat later on in the game. And the funny thing is with these types of run-bys is that Gumiho now feels forced to leave defenses in the main, where before he didn't feel that at all. Now part of his army is going to be split up and stuck in that main base. Tank count is still at 8, which is a decent number. 3 of those are over here, but they're completely undefended. A pure Ling run-by could definitely take out these triple tanks, but I don't think that's what Scarlett is aiming for. She's coming in with a bunch of Lings here. Perhaps that's going to be a surround, a bit of a flank. No, just going for the orbital command instead, as these Hydras are working on the Liberators. This command center is forced to lift off once more. 8 drones did end up going down. 16 kills here on this Liberator. I hope that's not all drones. I don't think it is all drones. So Lib will end up dying. These Ghosts perhaps in a bit of trouble. Hellbats trying to deal damage. +3 finally on the way as 9 Corruptors are being added into the army. Rather than having the Hydras for anti-air, Corruptors are going to be the answer. Though the Liberator count is practically nil at this point. There's only 2 left. Here comes another attack. I don't quite think that Gumiho can actually fight this. Is going to get surrounded. Tries to pick up all of his Ghosts and I think manages to evacuate most of them. But this command center is going to end up dying. At least I can only imagine it will end up dying. Yep, there we go. Scarlett does continue her aggressive attacks here. Try to get connections with the Ghosts, but they keep moving into the medevacs. Little losers. Stand and fight, my friends. Oh, Scarlett turns around, sees these Ghosts, and will take out a bunch of them once more. As the Hydras continue working on those medevacs as well. 2-3 more medevacs do go down. 9 Broodlords now coming in without a single Tor on the map. This might actually be a major issue. 114 army supply for the Canadian Zerg player who's already mining the resources of her opponent. Now 18 more Banes as well coming in. There's no more spellcasters in this army, which makes the army weaker, but also makes it a lot easier to control. And in these situations, I think ease of control might be more important than having a stronger army. If you're already up 50 supply, do you really need a much stronger army? I don't think so. Scarlett is trying to move forward here, taking out a couple of these SCVs. 15, 19 drones have been taken out. Scarlett actually in a world of trouble all of a sudden. Does not quite have the money to remax anymore after this. The question is, will she need to? I'm not so sure, because I don't really see her losing any units here whatsoever. These Hellbats, though, did a fabulous job taking out that left side base. This command center most likely is going to fall if the Hydras feel like it, though it does not seem like the Hydras do feel like it. Flyer attack level 2 finishes up as well, and we're going to continue pushing on over here. Hellbats at the same time, having a similar plan. 17 and 2 times 8 are the kill counts on those 3 Hellbats. That is significant numbers there. Scarlett pretty all in with this, but Gumiho also pretty all in this defense. Does not have any workers left, hardly has any mining remaining. Now starts attacking the far left side, but Scarlett still has a base on the right. Still mining from, or could still be mining from the middle, is mining from this top side base as well. So there's a lot of mineral patches that she can still mine from. Gas is not going to be an issue anytime soon. We have drones moving over towards this gold base as well, so yeah, just overall a great situation here for the Zerg player while the Terran is struggling to do anything. Another planetary falls as the Liberators move forward, and I actually believe that this is going to be it. Gumiho is trying to go for a base raid, but he just does not have enough units. These tanks will get taken out. Thors are being set up in the main base. Vikings are being set up as well, trying to help out, but without any ship weapons, not really dealing all that much damage against these Broodies. Of course, Hydras on the ground also helping out against the Vikings. Baneling, Hydra, Broodlord, Corruptor, Ling is going to be the composition here that wins the game for Scarlett. No Infestors, no Vipers needed anymore in that very late game apparently. She just moves across the map and destroys the opposition. Final Thors are going down here, and this army does need to be dealt with at some point, because it is running pretty rampant, but I think you can do that after you've reached the main base of your opponent. You're still mining from a gold here. GG gets called. Gumiho says, no, I'm not going to let you kill everything. I'll keep my units alive over here and wave the white flag. Scarlett will win this game. Interesting game on Royal Blood. Very good early game for Gumiho, but his follow-up after that early game was so mediocre that it felt like Scarlett never lost control. That is going to be it for me today. Thanks all so much for watching. I hope you did enjoy this game. If you did, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see all of you next time for a new video. Bye-bye.